Hi, Lauren and Jade, thank you so much for coming in today. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to put a financial plan together for your family. And there was three key areas that I thought we could go over and discuss today in our meeting. The first is looking at your current financial situation. I put together a statement of your financial position as of December 31st, and you have a very healthy balance sheet. I added up all of your assets and subtracted your current liabilities to come to a net worth of a little north of 500,000. And when I look at your assets, you've got good high quality assets and you're carrying very low debt. So there's a lot for us to work with here. There might be some opportunities for us to deploy assets in different ways, but for the most part, very healthy balance sheet. And if we turn to the prior page, page 7, and we look at your statement of cash flows, this is basically looking at what's coming in versus what's coming out. And you'll see that you've got a surplus on an annual basis of approximately $6,600. So great to see that you've got a surplus. There's some money that we can work with there, but we might be able to find some opportunities within your expenses that we might be able to lower. One might be looking at a refi of your current mortgage, and I did run an analysis of the financial ratios, and you passed both of those tests. So kind of the green light for us to pursue that. And then maybe looking at selling the rental property, knowing that there could be additional future expenses. So right now you're at a break even, but it could put you in a negative situation if you had additional costs that are incurred. So that's something that we could probably look at, and that would be an asset that we could start putting into different avenues. The next part would be looking at your savings goals, and you had two in particular you wanted to review. One was looking at your retirement savings. You definitely are on track, and you have several accounts set up, so I think that there's certainly some opportunity there. And Jake, I know you had mentioned setting up a retirement plan for Harry's, which I think would be a great idea. And I did put together an analysis looking at the SEP versus the simple. So we can go through that a little later as well. But that'll be a great opportunity to put additional monies away for retirement. The other part that you wanted to talk about was putting some savings together for Billy's college. And you had given me some estimates of about $23,000 a year, at growing at about 4%. So what I did with that, if you turn to page 11, I basically projected that out when he'll be in college. So future college costs would be running around $133,000. And then I discounted that back to look at what it would be in today's value. So the present value of those college costs would be approximately $70,000. I know that Billy has received some assets from Aunt Barbara. He was bequeathed $50,000 in municipal bonds, so we have the opportunity to use that to offset some of the costs. You could take proceeds from the rental property if you decide to sell that property to fill in the gap, or we can look at saving some monthly income to put away for the next 8 years to also fill that in. So we have a couple of different options there that we can use for college funding. The last part would be looking at protection for the family and for you and for the assets and the estate. So looking at right now, the very first thing I would suggest is revisiting the wills and making sure that you put a guardian in place for the children. It's probably the most important thing to have in a will, just to make sure that the children will be taken care of in the event that something happens. The other option you could look at is having a living will as well as medical power of attorney in the event that one or both of you are incapacitated, so those decisions can be made. And then also potentially setting up a trust for any assets that you'd like to pass along to your heirs or to the children, to make sure that or to look at some options for avoiding probate as well as estate taxes. So we'll have some options there that we definitely want to take a look at. And then you'd also asked about looking at your current life insurance coverage. So if you turn to page 13, I did a needs analysis and looked at basically using the human life human life value approach, projecting what your income would be over the time from now to when you plan to retire at age 62, and that number is approximately $828,000, looking at a present value. So you currently have a whole life policy that is worth $150,000 and a death benefit. If we subtract that, your current insurance needs would be approximately $678,000. So we can look at some options there. You'd asked not to include any of the insurance that was included within your employer. So if this is something you want to have outside, we can certainly look at some options for insurance policies that would be appropriate. So those are the three areas that I thought we could go over. Obviously, this process is very fluid, and we will continue to monitor this as we set up accounts and start putting things into place. So again, thank you very much. I appreciate your trust in me and looking forward to working with you both.